Oga, meet me in bed. I don't think my madam is coming soon.
The girl Ruth brought into her home to help her cook and clean almost destroyed her marriage, and yet she's the one God used to save it. They said she came to serve us, but I soon realized she came to destroy everything I built with love and prayer. Loyalty died. Rain fell softly over Port Harcourt's GRA that Sunday afternoon. The house smelled of stew and peace until Ruth climbed the stairs and heard laughter coming from the master bedroom. A girl's laughter. She pushed the door open and froze. There was Ella, her 9-year-old housemaid, sitting on Daniel's lap. His hands rested on the girl's waist, his eyes filled with guilt the moment he saw his wife standing there. The plate in Ruth's hand slipped, crashing to the floor. Daniel jumped up, stammering, "Ruth, it's not what you think." But it was exactly what she thought. Tears blurred her sight as she stared at the two people she trusted most in her home. In that moment, something inside her broke, the kind of break that changes a person forever. She turned and walked out, silent, her heart screaming louder than her voice ever could. That day was the beginning of everything. 2 months earlier, Ruth had met Ella through a friend from church. The girl looked so fragile, skinny, shy, with eyes full of sadness. She said her mother had died and she needed a job to support her younger brother in Elemi. Ruth felt pity. "Come stay with us," she said warmly. "We'll treat you like family." Daniel had been hesitant. "You trust people too easily, Ruth," he warned. But Ruth waved it off. "Not everyone is bad, Daniel." Ella started work immediately. She was humble, quiet, always smiling. She cooked, cleaned, and even helped Ruth close her boutique in GRA every evening. Everyone loved her. Everyone but Time, because Time was revealing what Ruth couldn't see. Behind Ella's innocent smile was a silent plan, a revenge born from pain and misunderstanding. Ella wasn't there to serve. She was there to destroy. Ella's mother had died believing Daniel was the man who ruined her life. Years ago, her family lost everything after a bad business deal with a man named Mr. M. Daniel Okoro. And when Ella saw Ruth's husband's name, she believed it was him. "God finally gave me a chance," she whispered to herself on her first night in their home. "He'll feel what my mother felt." Her plan was simple. Break the trust between husband and wife. She began slowly complimenting Daniel, leaving little notes of thanks, smiling when he came home. It was innocent at first, then calculated. Daniel, flattered by the attention, didn't notice the trap. Ruth noticed something different in his behavior: fewer smiles, colder eyes, and nights spent working late. Ella would smile when Ruth wasn't looking. The devil was working, but so was God, silently waiting for the right moment to turn the story around. Daniel was a good man, but weak in one thing: pride. He loved feeling admired, respected, wanted. Ella understood that. She started speaking softly around him, asking for help to fix things she could fix herself. One night, Ruth returned home early from her boutique. She heard laughter from the kitchen, Daniel and Ella, talking like old friends. Something in her chest tightened. Later, she told Daniel, "I don't like how close she's getting to you." He frowned. "She's just a child, Ruth. Don't start unnecessary drama." That night, Ruth couldn't sleep. She prayed quietly, asking God to expose whatever was hiding in her home. Outside her door, Ella listened to her prayer and smiled. The game had begun. Ella's whispers were poison wrapped in politeness. "Madam, you're so blessed," she'd say, "but I think Oga doesn't appreciate you like he used to." Or she'd leave Daniel's subtle comments: "Madam doesn't look happy these days." Soon, the air in the house grew cold. Conversations became short. Meals were eaten in silence. Ruth felt it deep inside. Something evil was growing in her home. She tried to talk to Daniel, but his eyes avoided hers. "Stop being paranoid," he said. "You're making the girl uncomfortable." That night, Ruth cried. Her marriage was slipping through her fingers, and she didn't even know why. But heaven knew, and heaven was waiting for the right storm. It was a Friday evening when Ruth forgot her phone in the living room. She went back to get it and found Daniel and Ella sitting too close on the couch. She froze in the doorway, unseen. Ella's head rested on his shoulder, his hand absent-mindedly touching her hair. Ruth stepped forward, voice trembling. "Daniel!" They both jumped up. Silence. Guilt filled the air like smoke. That night, she packed a small bag and went to her sister's house. Daniel didn't stop her. He didn't call. He just sat alone, drowning in regrets. And Ella? She smiled, believing she had finally won. But God was not finished with them yet. A week passed. Daniel's house felt like a graveyard. Ella's presence, once exciting, now made him restless. He began to see the manipulation, the small lies, the way she smiled when Ruth's name was mentioned. Guilt ate him alive. One night, he shouted at her, "You're the reason my wife left." Ella didn't flinch. "You made your own choice," she whispered, walking away. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He saw Ruth's face in his dreams, the pain, the tears. He wanted to fix things, but he didn't know how. It happened on a rainy night. Daniel was driving to Ruth's sister's house to beg her forgiveness. His car skidded on the wet road and slammed into a pole. He was rushed to the hospital, unconscious. When Ruth got the call, her knees buckled. "Jesus, please don't take him," she cried. Ella, hearing the news, felt her heart twist. She hadn't wanted him dead, just broken. But seeing him fight for his life, she began to feel the weight of what she had done. In the hospital waiting room, Ella sat beside Ruth, silent. Ruth's hands trembled as she prayed aloud, "Lord, forgive whoever caused this pain." Tears filled Ella's eyes. She fell to her knees. "It's me," she whispered. "I'm the reason." Ruth stared at her, confused. Ella poured everything out, the story of her mother, the revenge plan, the lies, the manipulation. She ended with, "I thought he was the man who destroyed my family." Ruth covered her mouth, shocked. "Then," she said softly, "my husband never did any business like that. You've been fighting the wrong man." Ella's world collapsed. Guilt burned through Ella like fire. She spent the night in tears beside Daniel's hospital bed. "Sir," she whispered, "if you wake up, I'll fix everything I broke." 2 days later, Daniel opened his eyes. The first person he saw was Ruth, holding his hand, and beside her, Ella, weeping. He couldn't speak, but tears rolled down his face. In that moment, no one said a word. The silence was holy. God had begun the healing. Ruth could have thrown Ella out. She could have cursed her, called the police, or told the world. But she didn't. Instead, she said quietly, "If God forgave me for my mistakes, who am I not to forgive you?" Ella fell on her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. That day, forgiveness entered the room like sunlight after a storm. Daniel recovered slowly. He apologized to Ruth, his voice breaking. "I was blind. I hurt you. Please give me another chance." Ruth nodded, tears in her eyes. "Let's rebuild, but this time, with God at the center." Ella stayed a few more weeks, helping around, praying daily for the couple. For the first time, she smiled with peace, not revenge. The day Ella left, Ruth hugged her tightly. "You came to destroy us," she whispered, "but God used you to make us stronger." Ella cried. "Thank you, madam, for showing me love I didn't deserve." She walked out of the compound, suitcase in hand, reborn. Months later, Daniel and Ruth renewed their vows at their church in GRA. Their hands trembled as they said, "For better, for worse." This time, they meant every word. The home that once echoed with lies now sang with laughter and worship. Ruth's boutique expanded. Daniel became more humble, more loving. They had survived the storm and come out purified. Ella found work at a Christian NGO helping young girls like her. Every time she spoke, she told her story, how revenge almost destroyed her and how forgiveness saved her. One day, at a church event, Ella met Chike, a kind young man who had also been broken by life. They became friends, then something more. God was rewriting her story. Years later, Ella visited Ruth and Daniel again. Their kids ran to hug her. Daniel smiled. "We never forgot you." Ruth took her hand. "Your family now." Ruth often told people, "Never let pain make you blind. Sometimes the devil sends people to destroy you, but if you trust God, he'll turn it around for your good." At her wedding, Ella stood before the crowd, eyes full of tears. "Once, I was lost in hatred," she said. "But a woman I tried to destroy taught me what real love is." Ruth and Daniel sat in the front row, smiling proudly. The story had come full circle. A broken girl had become a healed woman. A shattered marriage had become stronger. And God had turned what was meant for evil into something beautiful. "She came to destroy my marriage, but God turned it around," teaches that forgiveness is stronger than revenge, and love guided by faith can heal even the deepest wounds. It reminds us that not every battle is meant to be fought with anger. Sometimes, the people who come into our lives to hurt us are unknowingly sent to reveal our strength, test our faith, and shape our destiny. Ruth's grace, Daniel's repentance, and Ella's redemption show that when we let God take control of our pain, he turns what was meant for evil into a testimony of healing and restoration. True victory doesn't come from destroying others, it comes from forgiving, growing, and trusting God's timing. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video, comment "God can turn it around," and subscribe for more powerful true-to-life stories that remind us that faith still works and love still wins. Let someone struggling with betrayal, guilt, or heartbreak know that forgiveness is the key that unlocks freedom. Like, comment, share, and let this story be the message that changes someone's heart today.